with the author of Chaitanya Charitamrita. He wrote a book known Govinda Leelamrita. It is about glorification of Radharani. In Mahabhava, whenever Radharani sees Krishna, she automatically comes to the Mahabhava, a fully abstract law of Godhead. In that Mahabhava, how she looks like, how it acts. Simple it is. Kunkumakta kanchanabja garvahari gaurabha Kunkumakta kanchanabja garvahari gaurabha Pitalanchitabja gandhaketi nindi saurabha Pitalanchitabja gandhaketi nindi saurabha Vallavesha sunu sarva vanchitabta sadhika Vallaveshu sunu sarva vanchitabta sadhika Dika maya matna pada padna dasya dastu radhika Maya matna pada padna dasya dastu radhika Govinda kanti nindi chitrapatta sathika Govinda kanti nindi chitrapatta sathika Krishna matta bringa keli phulla pushpa vatika Krishna matta bringa keli phulla pushpa vatika Krishna nitya sangamatna padna bandhu sadhika Krishna nitya sangamartha padna bandhu sadhika Maya matna pada padna dasya dastu radhika Maya matna pada padna dasya dastu radhika Sokumarya srushta pallavali kirti nigraha Sokumarya srushta pallavali kirti nigraha Chandra chandra notpalendu seva sita vigrahat Chandra chandra notpalendu sevya sita vigraha Swabhimarsha vallavisha kamatapa badhika Swabhimarsha vallavisha kamatapa badhika Nika maya matna pada padna dasya dastu radhika Nika maya matna pada padna dasya dastu radhika Vishwavanja yovataabhi vanditaabhi ya Rama Vishwavanda yovitaabhi vanditaabhi ya Rama Rupanavya yovanadi sampadana yatsama Rupanavya yovanadi sampadana yatsama Shilahada lilaya cha sayatosti nadhika शीलः दलीलया च सायतोऽस्ति नाधिका मह्यमात्मपादपद्मदासदस्तु राधिका मह्यमात्मपादपद्मदासदस्तु राधिका रासलास्य गीत नर्म सत्कलालि पंडिता रासलास्य गीत नर्म सत्कलालि पंडिता ता प्रेम रम्य रूप वेश सद्गुणालि मंडिता ता प्रेम रम्य रूप वेश सद्गुणालि मंडिता विश्व नैव्य गोप योषि दालितोऽपि याधिका विश्व नैव्य गोप योषि दालितोऽपि याधिका मह्यमात्मपादपद्मदासदस्तु राधिका मह्यमात्मपादपद्मदासदस्तु राधिका नित्य नव्य रूप केलि कृष्ण भाव संपदा नित्य नव्य रूप केलि कृष्ण भाव संपदा कृष्ण राग बंध गोप यौवतेषु कंपदा कृष्ण राग बंध गोप यौवतेषु कंपदा कृष्ण रूप वेश केलि लग्न सत्समाधिका कृष्ण रूप वेश केलि लग्न सत्समाधिका मह्यमात्मपादपद्मदासदस्तु राधिका राधिका मह्यमात्मपादपद्मदासदस्तु राधिका श्वेद कंप कंटकास्त्र गद्गदादि संचिता श्वेद कंप कंटकास्त्र गद्गदादि संचिता अमर्ष हर्ष वामतादि भाव भूषणांचिता अमर्ष हर्ष वामतादि भाव भूषणांचिता कृष्ण नेत्र तोषि रत्न मंडनालिदाधिका कृष्ण नेत्र तोषि रत्न मंडनालिमाधिका नालिदाधिका मह्यमात्मपादपद्मदासदस्तु राधिका मह्यमात्मपादपद्मदासदस्तु राधिका यच्छणार्थ कृष्ण विप्रयोग संततोदिता यच्छणार्थ कृष्ण विप्रयोग संततोदिता अनेक दैन्य चापलादि भाव वृंद मोदिता अनेक दैन्य चापलादि भाव वृंद मोदिता यत्न लब्ध कृष्ण संग निर्गता किलाधिका यत्न लब्ध कृष्ण संग निर्गता किलाधिका मह्यमात्मपादपद्मदासदस्तु राधिका Maya pada padma dasa dasturadhika. Last one going to sing is about Palasruti, what we get the benefit of reciting this glorification. Astakena yastvanena nauti Krishna vallabham. Astakena yastvanena nauti Krishna vallabham. Darshane pisaila jadi yoshidali dullabham. Darshane pisaila jadi yoshidali dullabham. Krishna Sangha Nanditatma Dasa Sidhu Bhajanam. Krishna Sangha Nanditatma Dasa Sidhu Bhajanam. Tam karoti Nanditali Sanchayasu Sajanam. Tam karoti Nanditali Sanchayatu Sadhanam. Maya matna pada padna dasa dasturadhika. Maya matna pada padna dasa dasturadhika. Maya matna pada padna dasa dasturadhika. Adhika maya matna pada padna dasa dasturadhika. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Ram. Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare Rama, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. You can read very nice translation. Can you put the translation? Her splendorous golden complexion steals the pride of a golden lotus flower anointed with a tinge of red kumkum. Her sweet fragrance mocks the fame of the aroma of the lotus flower sprinkled with the saffron powder. She is fully qualified to fulfill all desires of the son of the king of cowherd men. May Sri Radhika bestow upon me the service of her own lotus feet. Next, number 2. Move. Alternative one you can read. Yes. It is very difficult for Parvati, Shailaja in the school Varsikam, and other exalted goddesses to attain even a glimpse of Srimati Radharani, who is dear to Lord Krishna. But if someone glorifies her by reciting these 8 verses, then she, who is delighted by Krishna's continuous association, will grant the sweet nectar of her personal service to that person, who thereby enters the assembly of her similarly delighted girlfriends, gopis. Sri Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami ki jai. So Radharani always in the Mahabhava, the moment she comes to in association with Krishna, she jumps to Mahabhava to full prema also. Sampurna prema, Purna prema. Yasyanubhavamakala sruti saramekam adhyatmadipamatitiršitam tamondam samsarinam karunayah purana guhyam tam yasasunupayami gurum muninam Narayanam namaskritya naram teva narottamam devim saraswatim yasam tato jayamudirayet nashtaprayesha bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavate uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Today we'll discuss from Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter, canto 4, chapter 21, just 12. Huh? Sarvatras Akila Adeshaha Sapta Dipaika Dadadruk Anyat Anyatra Brahmana Kulad Anyatra Achyuta Gotraha Sarvatrastha Kilatadesha Sattadipaika Dandadhru Anyatra Brahmana Kulad Anyatra Achyuta Gotra Anyatra Gotrataha Sarvatrasya Kilatadesha Sattadipaika Dandadhru Anyatra Brahmana Kuladan Anyatrachyuta Gotrada Sarvatrastakila Desha Saptadipaika Dandadru Anyatra Brahmana Kulad Anyatrachyuta Gotraha Gotrata Sarvatrastakila Desha Saptadvipaikadandadru Chadramana Kulad Anyatrachyuta Gotrataha Sarvatrasa Kiladesha Saptadvipaikadandadru Anyatra Brahmana Kulad. Wait a minute. Haribol. Haribol. Hot water, hot water. Saptadvipaikadandadru Anyatra Brahmana Kulad Anyatra Tritagochataha Anyatra Saptadvipaikadandadru Anyatra Brahmana Kulad Anyatra Tritagotrataha. When the recitation comes, everybody must try to recite. Just by reciting one verse a day, Sanat Kumar in the glories of the Bhagavatam, in Padma Puran says that, you will be liberated. Even one doesn't understand the meaning of the verse, doesn't matter, but you must, even Sanat Kumar says that even half shloka, but we should not be so greedy that half shloka, one shloka every day. That's why Srila Prabhupada has given an opportunity to the devotees who come for the Bhagavatam class to recite the verse. At least by that process we get qualified. Prabhupada has given association of the devotees, taking darshan of the Lord, hearing Bhagavatam, recitation of Bhagavatam. What else is required? All the 5 important aspects of the devotional service we get just by coming to the temple, taking darshan, association, everything. One need not to go to Vrindavan. Hyderabad becomes Vrindavan, provided we are pure consciousness. I go to Vrindavan, take nice hotel and sleep it. Better say in the Calcutta or Hyderabad, not in Vrindavan. Vrindavan means pure consciousness. Krishna Prema, that is Vrindavan. If we have the full Prema of the love of Godhead and engage in service of the Lord, Acharya and association of the devotees, hearing and chanting, you are in Vrindavan. Moreman Vrindavan, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says. So just one should take this opportunity. Srila Prabhupada has given this great opportunity. You don't find in any other places where people say that recite the verse. You go to any satsang. All might have gone definitely. Go to any satsang, nobody will say that you also recite the verse. The one who is giving lecture, I recite, I tell the meaning. Yes, benefit is there, but recitation is the special benefit because each verse, each text in Bhagavatam is a mantra written by Supreme Lord Krishna himself it is. So it got the potency. Sarvatra, everywhere. Askhalita, irrevocable. Adeshaha, order. Saptadvipa, 7 islands. Eka, 1. Dandadhrip, the ruler of who holds the scepter, Raja Danda. Anyatra, except Brahmana Kulad, Brahmanas and saintly persons. Anyatra, except Achyuta Gotrara, descendants of Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vaishnavas. All the Vaishnavas Gotra is Achyuta Gotra. Before our initiation, we could be Bharadwaja, Atreya, but once we take initiation, one Gotra all becomes Achyuta Gotra. Wherever you go to any holy place, Brahmanas, what is Gotra? When you take Sankalpa, they will ask Gotra. So you can simply say Achyuta Gotra, finish. We don't have to remember what is our descendants. Once you take the shelter of Krishna, you are descendant of Radha Krishna. Maharaj Prithu was an unrivaled king and possessed the scepter for ruling all the 7 islands on the surface of the globe. No one could disobey his irrevocable orders but the saintly persons, the Brahmanas, and the descendants of the Supreme Personality Godhead, the Vaishnavas. Saptadvipa refers to the 7 great islands continents on the surface of the globe. Asia, Europe, Africa, North America, South America, Australia, and Oceania. In the modern age, people are under the impression that during the Vedic period or the prehistoric ages, America and many other parts of the world had not been discovered. But that is not a fact. Prithu Maharaj ruled over the world many thousands of years before the so-called prehistoric age. And it is clearly mentioned here that in those days, not only were all the different parts of the world known, but they were ruled by the one king, Maharaj Prithu. The country where Prithu Maharaj resided must have been India, because it is stated in the 11th verse of this chapter that he lived on the tract land between the rivers of Ganga and Yamuna. This tract of land, which is called Brahmavarta, consists of what is known in the modern age as the portions of Punjab and North India. It is clear that the kings of India once ruled all over the world and that their culture was Vedic. The word Askalita indicates that orders by the king could not be disobeyed by anyone in the entire world. Such orders, however, were never issued to control saintly people or the descendants of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu, means devotees. The Supreme Lord is known as Achyuta, and Lord Krishna is addressed as such by Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita. Sevayor senayorudhar madhye ratam stapyata tapaya me Achyuta. Achyuta refers to the one who does not fall because he is never influenced by the modes of material nature. When a living entity falls down to the material world from his original position, he becomes Achyuta, which means that he forgets his relationship with Achyuta. Actually, every living entity is a part and parcel or son of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When influenced by the modes of material nature, a living entity forgets this relationship and thinks in terms of the different phases of life. But he again comes to his original consciousness. He does not observe such bodily designation. This is called Bhagavad Gita. This is indicated in Bhagavad Gita, 5th chapter, 18th verse, by the words Pandita Samadarshana. Material designations create differentiation in terms of the caste, color, creed, nationality, etc. Different gotras or family designations are distinctions in the terms of the material body. But when one comes to Krishna consciousness, he immediately becomes one of the Achyuta Gotra or descendants of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and thus becomes transcendental to all considerations of caste and creed and color and nationality. Prithu Maharaj had no control over the Brahmana Kula, which refers to the learned scholars in the Vedic knowledge, nor over the Vaishnavas, who are above the consideration of the Vedic knowledge. It is therefore said, one who thinks the deity in the temple to be made of wood or stone, who thinks of the spiritual master in the disciplic succession as an ordinary man, who thinks the Vaishnava in the Achyuta Gotra to belong to a certain caste or creed, or thinks of Charanamrita or Ganges water in ordinary water is taken to be resident of the hell, quoted in Padma Purana. From the facts presented in this verse, it appears that the people in general should be controlled by a king until they come to the platform of Vaishnavas and Brahmanas, who are not under the control of anyone. Brahmana refers to one who knows Brahman, or the impersonal feature of the absolute truth, and Vaishnava is one who serves the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chachurmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namam Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavam Cha Rupam Sagrajatam Sahegana Raghunatanitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahegana Lalita Sri Vishakanitam Cha Namah Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pachacha Deshatarine He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Nilachala Nivasaya Nityaya Paramatmane Balabhadra Subhadrabhyam Jagannathaya Te Namah Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasad Bhaktanda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Ram Hare Hare. About Prithu Maharaj, Vidura speaking to Maitreya Rishi. It is a discussion between, entire Bhagavatam is conversation between the two great personalities. Either sometimes with the Supreme Lord Krishna and his devotee, or the sages and devotees. It gives authenticity. I am telling this, no. Somebody, authoritative person has said, we are just repeating. Then it becomes more authoritative. Just like if you go to the court, the advocate, attorney, when he talks in any matter to the judge, he quotes the IPC or CPC or PC section so and so. Then it becomes authoritative. Without quoting any section of the code of conduct, then he talks, then it is his own imagination. In the same way, that's why in the purports and all, the Prabhupada always makes sure that he gives quotes from the scripture always. It becomes more authoritative. Similarly, the words spoken by the Lord and pure devotees also become authoritative because they are not speaking themselves, but they are referring what they have heard from the great personality like Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, Narada Maharshi, Vyasa Maharshi, like that. So, Prithu was such a king, that very powerful king. One person in Africa, they said that the Saptadvipa is wrongly translated. People want to use their little intelligence to interpret the scripture. Because in the whole universe also there were 7 islands are there. You are taking. The king of the 7 islands is not the king on the earth planet, it is the Manu Maharaj. Manu is the king of the administrative control of the 7 islands in the, means entire universe. Okay. Jambudvipa, where the Bharatavarsha stays, that is one of the part of the 7 islands. We should not take here the story of the Maharaja Prithu, he belongs to this earth planet. That's why La Prabhupada clarifying this point that Saptadvipa means Asia, Europe, Africa, North America, South America, Australia, and Oceania. Okay. So modern age people are under the impression that during the Vedic period, America and other countries were not there. No, they all were there. Mahabharata war, you can see, in the first canto also in the beginning, La Prabhupada is given the different tribal names. Which tribe comes from the which war, which country, also given. In the Mahabharata war, all those tribal people which have been mentioned, Hunandhra, all these, they have been, the names are there in Mahabharata war. Those who are participate in the great war between Kauravas and Pandavas, and from every part of the world they came, that's why it is called Mahabharata. The entire this earth planet is called Bharatavarsha. In the according scripture, the earth planet is called Bharatavarsha. So now Bharat means that small it is. If you go to the history in the 1950s, we used to draw the map of India. Or those, if you got the history book of the 1950s, you can see India means up to the Indonesia used to be. Small tail, it comes like all coming small island. Vietnam, all this used to be part of India. In the Second World War, they got separated because of the war and so many things. So India was great. Others coming and pushing Hindus, they all came to finally India settled. Now become small India. So according to scripture, India, Bharat, India, British given, the Bharat is the original name. The Bharat means entire earth planet. The king was one control. Mahabharata, somewhere it comes, I don't remember which parva, chapters. Right? The Britain is the Angulistan. If you see the map of this world, it looks like a thumb, it is Britain. Somewhere I read it, the Angulistan. Now it will become Englistan. Maharaj Prithu ruled all the many thousands of years before, so-called prehistoric age. And it is clearly mentioned here that in those days, not only were all the different parts of the world known, but they were ruled by one king, Maharaj Prithu. And country where Prithu Maharaj resided must have been in India, because in the previous verse yesterday we were discussing that the Prithu Maharaj capital city was in between the land track of between Yamuna and Ganga, which is known as Brahmavarta. It comes up to the, even the Brahmaputra, that side to entire North India, it is called Brahmavarta. Somewhere also we come across Aryavarta also. Aryavarta includes only this northern, but doesn't go to eastern side. But Brahmavarta, when you say, you will find nowadays in the history book they don't show. If you get the history book in 1953 or 54, there you will find Aryavarta, Brahmavarta, all these different, the maps you find it. When you used to study 5th class, 6th class, those days it used to be there. That's I remember it. The tract of land which is called Bharatavarsha consists of what is known in the modern age Punjab and North India. Between that land, the Brahmavarta was there. It is clear that the king of India once ruled all over the world and their culture was Vedic. You are finding so many proofs of that one. In Africa, many countries you found the architectural, archaeological proofs. But because of their controlled by other religion, they want to hide it. In Sudan, they found in the digging the Vishnu temple. Culture, architecture was like our prehistoric period, Vedic culture period. Because of the other religion, they don't want to show it. The word askhalita indicates that orders by the king could not be disobeyed. Means king gives order, it cannot be disobeyed. King was also justice. He was also chief justice also. When he is punishing someone, king acts as a, not administrator, as a justice. But nowadays it is, even the Supreme Court orders also can be criticized. That is not the proper. Order given has to be obeyed without any discussion. Srila Prabhupada gives one nice example, Achyuta. Each and every name of Krishna, which we find in the Vishnu Sahasranama, 1008 names, more than that names are there. Every name of the Lord Krishna denotes his attributes. Our name has nothing to do, our qualities are attributes. My name is Rama Govinda, neither I am a Rama nor Govinda, just to call. Rama Govinda, yes sir. But in case of the Lord, every name it shows his attributes. He is called Rama, why? Because he gives the transcendental pleasure. Ramante yogina ananta nityananda chidatmani iti Rama padani suparabrahma vidiyate. He gives the transcendental pleasure. That's why transcendental pleasure is called Ram in Sanskrit. The one who gives that transcendental pleasure is called Rama. Krishna means all attractive. Every aspect of Krishna is attractive. Achyuta, who never can fall down. We are subject to fall down because we are always subject to false ego. No matter a living entity, how much high position he goes upon, even the pure devotional service, sometimes some say that when you become pure devotee, one cannot fall down. It is a wrong impression. Even the pure stage of consciousness also, the living being not so careful, they will fall down. Like a pure devotee means you are walking on the edge of the sword. Ego never will lose, always falling. The moment we become, I am a pure devotee, I am already fallen down. But Lord never will fall down. That's why he is always in the Vishuddha Satogun. Jiva, living entity, can go to the Shuddha Satogun, pure mode of goodness. But the Supreme Lord eternally, all the time, he stays in pure mode of goodness, which we call Vishuddha Satogun. That's why the Achyuta, you will not fall down. Every name is given according to his qualities and attributes. When a living entity falls down to the material world from the original position, Golokameva nivasati aklatma bhuta Govinda Purusham tamam bhajami. All the living entity, everybody is from the spiritual world. So one person asks, if everybody is from spiritual world, why is suffering here? Why is both supposed to be staying here? Why is bonded to stay back in material world? Suppose you send your son to America to study. You are sending money, you are studying very well. He is sending progress report, getting good marks, good student. But in addition to study, he is also going to some disco club. He got some friends. Natural happens, isn't it? You cannot be alone. You make some friendship. Friendship take you here and there. The parents didn't tell that you make friendship and go here and there, go to the clubs or anything, soccer game. He said, study well. So in addition to the study, he had taken up, undertook some other activity. That activity got reactions. Similarly, when the Lord sent living entity, this material world, we do that activity for which we were sent. In addition, we do some other activity which causes the action and reaction. And because of once engage in the material activity, there is reaction, and for that reaction we have to take a birth. There are supposed to be desires also. In the human form of the life, whatever the desires we have, for each desire I have to take a birth. The entire process or advice given in the Bhagavatam is how a human form of the life can be utilized for going back to our eternal abode, Vaikuntha, Golok, Vrindavan, back to Godhead. Entire aim of any scripture, Bhagavatam especially, is how to guide the living entity, how he can go back home to his eternal abode. That is possible following by the instructions. That is taking shelter of the Lord. Now we are taking the shelter of the illusory energy of the Lord Maya. Whatever we have, everything is the Maya. Maya means not permanent. It's all temporary. The material world is temporary. But staying in the material world, one should utilize this opportunity to go to the eternal abode. This facility is there here, which is not available even to the Devatas, demigods in the heavenly planet. The people in the heavenly planet, Swarga Aloka, they curse themselves. Those who got the Bhagavatam, read it 5th canto, 19th chapter, 21 verse. Aho amisham kemakari shobhanam. The Devatas in the heavenly planet, demigods, they, seeing the devotees in the Bharatavarsha on the earth planet, engaging in devotional service like you all sitting and hearing about Bhagavatam, when they see, they glorify. What pious activities this human being might have done, and that Lord Krishna is very happy with them and made them to become a devotees in the material world. How unfortunate we are in this heaven planet. We are enjoying all opulences, but we are unfortunate that we cannot go to Vaikuntha from here. No living entity from heavenly planet, even Brahmaloka, cannot go to the kingdom of God, Vaikuntha. Everyone has to take birth on this earth planet, take the shelter of the Supreme Lord Krishna, and go back to Vaikuntha. Why? Because the earth planet is karma bhumi. The material body on this earth planet is a very fortunate body. Devatas, demigods in the heavenly planet also like our body, but that is not karma bhava, karma bhumi. It is to enjoy the result of activities done in the earth planet. It is bhoga sharira, to enjoy the result. But the body in this earth planet is karma sharira, karma pradhan sharira. Being that, if we take the shelter of the Supreme Lord, engage in the devotional service, we can go back to spiritual world, Vaikuntha. If I engage in the pious activity, charities and all this, maybe I can go to heaven. But when I engage in the sinful activity, I can take birth in the animal kingdom or go to the hell to suffer. The destiny of the jiva, living entity, determines the activities done in this human body on this earth planet. Whether you want to be liberated, whether you want to remain in this material world, or suffer or enjoy, it is up to him what he wants. Because the living entity human being, we have the developed consciousness and intelligence. Therefore, it is the responsibility of the jiva to think what to do, what not to do. Srila Prabhupada stressed again and again every purport that one should take to the Krishna consciousness. And always chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Mind will keep on thinking. You cannot control the mind. Either we think of Krishna or we think of Maya. Whatever the way we are thinking, whatever the way we act, first we think, accept and act. Thinking, willing and acting. So whatever the way we think and act, accordingly we are creating a body required for the next life. We need not to worry that, what I am going to become. No. Every individual knows what type of a body you will get it. That's why Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita 15th chapter, that 3 verses Lord says, whatever the way he is thinking is creating the limbs body of the body required for the next life. It's like you go to the carpenter, you tell him that, my friend, I want a dining table for 6 people to sit. What he do? He immediately doesn't start cutting the wood. He thinks in the mentally first, is it? Mental thinks, 6 people means it should be this much length, this much width, this much height, this type of wood I must use. Mental things. Then if you know drawing, nowadays people know, in the gone days, they used to think mentally. Now they put a sketch and finally start working on that one. Means, before he practically brought the table to make it physically, in unmanifested way, he created it, all the table mentally. So Lord Krishna says that what depending upon the type of activity we do in this human body, and that quality, that activity determine what type of the next body I am going to get. And accordingly I am creating the limbs in the unmanifested way. That's Srila Prabhupada writes that if we think of Krishna all the time, and we are preparing the limbs of the body, when I leave this body, the limbs of the body which facilitate us to stay with Krishna in the Golok Vrindavan or Vaikuntha. Means it is our state of mind or consciousness, what we should think it. If I think of the material things, I get the material body. If I think of the spiritual matters or Krishna, Krishna's pastime, Krishna's pastime, Nama, Rupa, Guna, Lavanya, all same, there is no difference. Krishna's name and Krishna is one and same, there is no difference. Abhinnatvam Nama Namane. When you think of Krishna and we are creating a body, next life, the require which can stay with Krishna in the Vaikuntha. So that is very important. That's why entire Bhagavatam teaches us how to relate everything in the material world in relation to Krishna. So every activity we can relate to Krishna. There is nothing without Supreme Lord Krishna. Who created this earth? Nowadays scientists say that, I invented the aeroplane. Very good. Where did you get all the elements required to make the aeroplane? ससुराल से लाया क्या? Huh? Where did you get it? Who gave you the material? You are taking from the earth. You are using the Agni, fire, to melt it, to make a shape. Is it? So, you are borrowing all the material elements required from the Lord, which has created the 5 great elements, and you are preparing something. If we can make something without using the 5 great elements, we can say, you are the Supreme Lord. I can do Jai Jagadish Hare. That's not possible. Can anybody make it? No. Because we are not, no human being is capable of doing that. Not one human being, even the demigods cannot do that one. It is only the Supreme Lord who can create this material, 5 great elements. Now all this, whatever we see, everything in this world is the creation of the Lord. That is the greatness of our Vedic system, which unfortunately called Hinduism, Sanatana Dharma system. We see the presence of the Supreme Lord in each and everywhere. Because Chaturshloki Bhagavatam Lord says that anything in relation to me is the nature, existing. Anything not in relation to me is illusion. Everything in relation to Krishna, everything in the material world is in relation to Krishna. We can see that Lord. That's why in Sanatana Dharma we worship the rivers, water. We pay and obeisances. Ocean we go pay obeisances because who created the water? Huh? Can we create the water? Some students said that, no, I can break the H2O, oxygen and hydrogen and make it. But where do you get the oxygen? Can you make it to your own home? You are borrowing from the Lord treasury. So, that's why we see the presence of the Supreme Lord Brahman Tattva in that water. We worship. We worship the trees, we worship the fire, we worship the mountain, because everything is made by the Lord. Krishna's energy is there. Without Krishna's energy, a stone cannot be a stone. It becomes like a flower, it is. Annantarastha paramanu charantarastham Govinda Madipurusham tamam bhajami. Those who know the physics, they know. Every atom is, all the atoms are mutually hold together by the force of what is the name? Those who study the physics, they know it. We call covalent bond. And Srila Prabhupada says it is Vishnu Shakti. Vishnu means all pervasiveness. That energy of Vishnu or Sankarsana or gravitational force is the one which you are holding together. In physics language it says covalent bond is holding each atom together. You give the name, but finally it comes to the original Shakti, energy which is given by the Lord. That is greatness of the Sanatana Dharma or Dharma which is established by the Supreme Lord Krishna. Dharmam ta sachat bhagavat pranitam na vai vidur na rishyo napi devaha. That's why the Dharma which is in the beginning of the creation, only one Dharma, which is Sanatana Dharma. And that's why one of the names for Lord Vishnu is called Sanatana Purush. One of the names for Vaikuntha is called Sanatana Dham. Sanatana Dham, Sanatana Purush, established by him, is called Sanatana Dharma. So when we follow the instruction of Bhagavad Gita, means you are following the Sanatana Dharma. Dharma established by Supreme Lord Krishna. Okay. When the living entity falls down from the material world, from original position. Original position is, everybody is a servant of Krishna. Jivere Swarupoi Krishnera Nityadas. Forgetting the position as a servant, when you think that I am the master, means I am identifying with the body. When we identify with the body, we act, the action and reaction is there. When we identify ourselves, I am not the body, I am the soul, which is eternal. Soul is not subject to death and old age and disease, but the body, being the matter made of the 5 great elements, is subject to disease and death. When we understand the fact who I am and engage ourselves in that activity to go to the eternity, then our life becomes perfect. If we forget, then we are in illusion. That is called Chuta. We are fallen from the original position of being the servant of Supreme Lord Krishna. We want to become master. We want to compete with the Lord. That's why I say Achyuta. Actually, Lord, actually every living entity is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. As the children are part and parcel of the parents, is it? If the son does some mistake, what other people say? Hey, tumhara father kaun hai? Do they say? Mistake done by son, but they blame the father. And the girl does some mistake, they say, who is your mother? Who are your parents? So, why? Because we are part and parcel of the parents, so the blame goes to the parent. And similarly, the body is a part and parcel of the parents, but the soul is not. Soul has nothing to do with the parent. Soul is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. The body is separate from the soul. So long as the soul is in this body, we are able to act, see what. The moment the soul leaves the body becomes inactive, which we call death. What is the difference between a person with dead and alive? The person dead body also are all the limbs, eyes are there, mouth is there, legs are there. Why he can't talk? Some say, no, it doesn't have the oxygen. Put 4 or 5 gas cylinders. Now nose and airs everywhere. Is he going to get up? No. Oxygen is the cause of the man's living or dying. It's the soul, presence of the soul is there. That soul which is eternal, body is not eternal, that soul is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. And because I am part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, I must stay with my Supreme Lord. How one can go and stay with the Supreme Lord? The Krishna consciousness teaches. That Srila Prabhupada says that, chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra and one day you will go to taking up the devotional service. Once you take up, it is a continual process. When I take shelter of the spiritual master in the process, in the parampara, and engage in the devotional service, Prabhupada writes in the Upadeshamrita that it is a continual process. Lord will not leave us. He will take us, if 1 life, 2 life, 3 lives, but He will ensure that this jiva goes back to spiritual world. Because he had taken a vow, sankalpa, to engage in my service. So that is why the person who understands the constitutional position and engages service of the Lord is not Achyuta, he is not Chuta, he is Achyuta. That's why all the Vaishnavas, irrespective of which Sampradaya Vaishnava, their Gotra is Achyuta Gotra itself. Material designation creates differentiation in terms of the caste color. The caste is unfortunately in India especially, because of the selfish motives of the certain personalities, they are taking them by birth. No scripture anywhere says that a person can be called a particular caste by the birth. Lord says, Chaturvanyam Maya Srishtam Gunakarma Vibhagashaha. Qualities and its actions. Narada Maharshi was a Shudra. 85% of the Gotras of the so-called Brahmanas in India, they are from Kshatriyas. So how can they say? Means it's the quality, the caste doesn't depend upon the birth, but it is the quality, what type of quality, what type of activity we do. No matter whether we go to India or America, the 4 qualities, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra existing, nobody can say we don't have it. Unfortunately, we take by birth. The Brahmana means it's not a category, it is a category of people who are intelligent. Prabhupada gives example, like doctors, teachers, scientists. They are the intelligence community, they all are the Brahmans. Though the administrative class, like in India, we got Tahsildar, BDO, district collector, judges are there, army there, police, these are the Kshatriyas, administrative class. Farming, agriculture, cattle protection, charity, banking, business, these are the Vaishyas. No matter who does it, is a Vaishya. Skilled and unskilled labor person, they are the Shudras. It is a division of the labor, not by the birth, but the activity, qualities we do. Unfortunately, because of self-motive interest, it's taken by the birth, so that people can keep on fighting each other. But when you come to the spiritual life, we understand what is the fact. Who is the Brahmana? Who is the... Everybody who take the shelter of the Supreme Lord automatically become Brahmana and Vaishnava. A Vaishnava is superior to Brahmana because a Brahmana may be understanding that who he is, but he may not be worshipping the Supreme Lord. But a Vaishnava, he knows who he is, Atma Tattva, then engage in the service of the Supreme Lord. That's why he is superior. Prithu Maharaj has no control over the Brahmana Kula because the administrative rules are meant for the people who are in the material world, not for the spiritual world. Therefore, the orders cannot be applied to the Vaishnavas and Brahmanas. In the Mahabharata, one incident comes up. There says that no, a Brahmana cannot be punished by the king. To punish Brahmana must be another Brahmana. Therefore, Krupacharya being the Rajaguru, he can punish the Brahmanas, not the Kshatriya, king cannot. Because Brahmana's activities, Vaishnava's activities cannot be understood by the materialistic people. Sometimes people say, what is wrong with the Iskcon people? Get up early in the morning, 3 o'clock, at night time to sleep. The people get up and 4:30 singing starting. What is this? That's why they become sick. Whether you sleep for 24 hours, still you become sick. Huh? Because activities of the devotees cannot be understood by the non-devotees, because the material demonic mentality it is. From the facts presented in this verse appears that people in general should be controlled by a king until they come to the platform of Vaishnavas and Brahmanas. Prabhupada had a lot of desire that the whole world should become Vaishnava community. But Kali Yuga, it may happen. Fortunate people take to the Vaishnava cult. Unfortunate people won't take it. They like it, nice sunlight is there. It's sitting in the room, oh, I'm feeling cold. The sun gives the light and heat also. Go and sit outside. The facility is there, but I don't want to go. In the same way, Krishna consciousness is meant for everyone. Krishna is giving the message to each and everybody so that one can get out of this material existence and go to eternal abode. But if I don't want to take that facility, who can help? So, Brahman refers to the one who knows the Brahman. Brahman means Atma Tattva. First we have to know who I am. Why I am here? Why I am suffering? What is my destiny after leaving the body? First I know my Tattva Brahman, then I will know Parabrahman. All the living entities are Brahman and the Supreme Lord called Parabrahman. Once I know who I am, which is known as Atma Tattva. If I know the Atma Tattva, then I can know Paramatma Tattva also. Without knowing Atma Tattva, forget about knowing the Paramatma Tattva. That's why Prithu Maharaj says that, Rishabdev Maharaj says, Para bhavastavadovo didatam yavanna jijnasata Atma Tattva. The human being, if he doesn't inquire about himself, who is he, why he is suffering, he is defeated in the life. We stop here. Any question? Welcome. Ask Prabhu. Okay. What is go? Go means what? Sense. Go means the body is called go. Senses. What is the origin of Gotra? You say the word Gotra comes. Go means if the body is called go. Senses. Go means senses. Okay. The body is made of the senses. Tra from there. From there, this body is coming. So origin, we say that, oh, which Gotra? You take some great grandfather's name. Is it? We are descendants of that one. Every human being is the descendant of the great sages. That's why if you go to the chart of the Gotras, they give some Gotra, then Gotra Rishi. Third column you will find Gotra Rishi also. That Gotra Rishi, who is the original sages, Lord Brahma's sons, they are the origin there. Okay. So it says that from which the dynasty, starting from where your origin started, this family origin.
Can we actually say that the Supreme Personality of Godhead,
Yes.
which we mentioned as Achyuta Gotra,
Yeah.
is the origin of all the sages where every human being emanated? For example, Atreya Gotra, you say.
Okay.
Bharadwaja, you say.
Okay. The two aspects are there. One is the bodily aspect, one is the soul aspect. Gotra is taken on the bodily aspect. When you say Achyuta Gotra, is the original aspect. Why? Because even the material things also created by whom? The five great elements created by whom? When the Supreme Lord, when he interacts with the mode of ignorance, then the five great elements are created. When Lord interacts in time with the mode of passion, the senses are created. And when the Lord interacts in the mode of goodness in time, the creation is of the demigods and Lord Brahma and mind. So, finally, this whatever the creation, their origin is from Achyuta itself. So, common man understanding is that body, Gotra, when you say the body, Gotra, it is completely related to the body, nothing to the soul. When you say to the Achyuta, it is related to both. If you talk about the soul, origin of the soul is Achyuta Krishna, and the body also coming from Krishna. That's why Vaishnavas, for them, everything is Krishna. When they say Krishna, Narayana, Vishnu, all are in one and same, different functionary names. Okay? Okay, Prabhu.
Thank you. Just one more thing. Just referring to the last line of the purport of Srila Prabhupada, mentioned that Brahmana refers to one who knows Brahman or impersonal feature of the absolute truth. And Vaishnava is one who serves the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I know you've actually touched on this one, but I was just wondering, does it mean that a Vaishnava is a step ahead of a Brahmana who not only knows the Brahmajyoti aspect of the absolute truth, but also the Bhagavan feature? That's why he actually starts serving the Supreme Personality. Is that the only...
Lord got the three aspects. Brahman aspect, impersonal aspect. And the other one, the four-handed form, Paramatma aspect it is. And the Bhagavan, full opulences. Okay. The one who want to worship the Lord, the full, like Vaishnavas we do, it is the Bhagavat Tattva. Yogis meditate upon the opulent form of the Lord, four-handed form of the Lord, Paramatma Tattva. And the impersonalists, those who say, no, Lord Nirguna is under the body. Okay, they claim that Lord is Nirguna, correct. Lord is Nirguna, Nirakara Nirguna, scripture says. But what is the Nirakara Nirguna? That Akara form, not like the form you and mine. Our form is made of the five great elements. But the Lord's form, whether it takes the incarnation or anyone, his body is not made of the five great elements. It is divine, Chinmaya. In our case, or the body and soul, there is incompatible situation. The soul is eternal, body is not eternal. Body is made of the five great elements, matter. The incompatible situation. But Lord's case, the soul is spiritual, Chinmaya. Body is also spiritual, Chinmaya. But to enable, we cannot see that transcendental body of the Lord with the material eyes. To enable the Lord, to enable the living entity to see his incarnated form, which is still Chinmaya, he used the assistance of the material energy. Just like solar eclipse, a normal sun, you should not see, eyesight goes bad, is it? You cannot see also, it's so brilliant. So to see the Lord, what you do? So if you want to see sun globe, what you do?
Put the glasses on.
Black, make it black and see it. Okay, sun is the same, but you are using the shield with the blackness to see the sun. Because with this naked eyes you can't see it. In the same way, Lord used the material energy in order so that living entities who are contaminated by the material conditions of life, they can see Him. You are getting this point. That's why Lord says, Atmamaya. Using my energy, I appear so that living entities can see me, and my activity by that, they get attracted and get delivered. So the two aspects is there for Gotra. One, we as a Vaishnavas, Brahman is called the impersonal, impersonal aspect. Means the Lord, which the impersonalist like Shankar, all over the Shankaracharya, they don't accept. Not only that, all others except Sanatana Dharma, all other worship the impersonal aspect of the Lord. If you don't, if say that Lord doesn't have the form, then why you want to meditate on something? The Lord form doesn't mean that only this body, no. The book is also form. The cross is also form. Directions also form. So, they themselves confused. They consider that because the acharyas, what they said, they don't follow it also. We are no one to criticize them, but in our relation, those who want to meditate upon Nirakara Swarupa according to their philosophy, who doesn't have the physical form, for them, impersonal aspect of the Lord, just like Prabhupada gives a nice example, sun. Sun globe is there, sun rays are there, sunlight is there. Sunlight is the impersonal aspect of the sun. Is it? Without sun, you cannot get the sunlight. Sunlight doesn't have the form, but you can see the Lord. Sun rays, you can say 400 form of the Lord, Paramatma Tattva. Sun globe, full of light. Sun rays, all the power, but we cannot say that sun rays is fully empowered like the sun. Sun got all the full power, but each race is giving some power. Source of all power. So Srila Prabhupada gives an example of sun, sun rays and sunlight. The same way Bhagavan, Paramatma and the Brahman which is impersonal. Okay? Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrind ki jai.